service here in Unity of Boulder, and that everything is open here. You still have to wear a mask, of course, but the fact is we have a wonderful, safe, sanitized facility, and you're welcome to join us and be here with us live, where the energy is a lot better than just the screen energy. It's just like being at live theater is different than being at a movie. There's an energy that's transferred back and forth among human beings that you really can't get as well on a screen. But those of you who are watching on a screen, we appreciate it, and we appreciate you contacting your friends as well, letting them know you're tuning in to live streaming Unity of Boulder. A great.
So if you could remember just to silence your phones if you haven't done that yet, just make sure that's quiet so we don't have any interruptions during the service. And in terms of live theater, if they could get the 3-hour shows down to 90 minutes like a movie, I think it would be a little bit more enjoyable for me. But some of those, you get to the intermission, you thought it was the end of the show, and then you find out you have another hour and a half to go. I don't know.
Yeah.
Patience runs thin at that point in time.
Yeah, that's true for some shows, but there are some shows that you can't get enough of.
That's true, absolutely.
And I will tell you one movie that just didn't get the recognition it needed. That's why I'm going to be pressing this. If you haven't seen it, or if you haven't really thought about it, one of the greatest movies ever made is The Greatest Showman. You really need to see that movie, and it's got the most amazing song in it.
Well, if we're doing that, I'm going to recommend a movie as well.
Well, then I'll recommend another one because mine will be better than yours.
This one just came out. I just watched it on Netflix called The Social Dilemma, which is a documentary, and it was mind-blowing. It's really interviews with all the creators of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google, Gmail, all this stuff, and what their intention was when they started it, and what they now see it has become. And so many of them quit and left because the companies left the morality of the employees that started them, and they couldn't handle where it's going. And they talk about the world that we are now in, that we in this room really have no idea of, and it is mind-blowing and amazing. And these people are so brilliant. It was powerful, and it's really shifting the way I integrate with the world now. It's amazing.
All right, I believe you because, you know, morality comes from a deep realization of this divine presence which gives us breath and life and opportunities galore. We ought to be involved in understanding that. Thank you for that point, though.
And it's hard to program morality, as they're finding.
No, sometimes with a whip. You're gonna
Good morning, everyone. Got a few, or actually I have just one quick announcement for you today. On the 22nd of this month, we were going to have our annual fall equinox celebration, but Norma has hurt her arm and elbow just enough that singing, drumming, and chanting isn't really, it's not in her wheelhouse right now. So we are canceling that event, so if you're planning to come to that, please don't. You're gonna be standing around in an empty parking lot. But we are next week for our 11 a.m. service led by Syntysche. She is going to run her service kind of like a equinox celebration, and Norma will be here with her chanting and enjoying that. So come on out for that and make sure you tune in on live stream. It'll be great. Thank you.
Hi there, Unity Boulder. Are you ready to do a little rockin' out? Are you maybe gonna stand up with me? You maybe gonna feel a little bit of this light? Yes! I wanna hear amen, even if you got a mask on. Amen. We are here at church. Let's sing it, baby. Whew. I am called to be a healer for all humanity. I am called to be a dreamer, believe in what can be. I am called to be a maker,
of peace. I am called to be a giver of abundance I receive. I am called to be a prayer, living out the truth I seek. I am called to be everything. I am called to be, the glory here on earth, so all might see all the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. You are the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We're called to be. You are called to be a prayer and a friend in need. You are called to be a member when friends have all those needs. You are called to be a prayer, the friend in all you need. You are called to be a leader, to build community. You are called to be a prayer, living out the truth you seek. You are called to be everything. You are called to be the glory here on earth, so all might see all the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. You are the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We're called to be. I want to stand up on this one. We are called to be the kindness, set the broken-hearted free. Come on now. We are called to be forgiveness, where hope is run too deep. You got it. We are called to be compassion, be the wind beneath each wing. We are called to be community, only then can we succeed. Yes, start swinging. Be a prayer, living out the truth we seek. We are called to be everything. Ooh, called to be. I'm praying all those days under my mom, the glory that shines in you and me. You are the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We're called to be peace, called to be joy, called to be love, called to be free, called to be peace, called to be joy, called to be love, called to be. We're called to be. Thank you, Unity. Woo! Yes! I want you guys to feel light in your body. It is a beautiful, gorgeous day. Thank you.
Thank you, April Joy and our incredible Unity Band for that awesome music. And Nicole was singing before that. Nicole Miller, amazing. Let's say thank you again and recognize that we have a center filled with creative, talented folks, and we're so very blessed. You know, we now are on our second Sunday without Erna leading, but we have now Todd Batoon at the head of our band, and he's doing an incredible job. You know, 'tis the season for change, right? I mean, if there's ever been a collective experience, we're all in a collective experience of change. And I know that, you know, many of us have started to find how to ride this wave and find deeper peace through this process instead of kind of impulsively being affected by the little things that are changing each day and being kind of tossed around by like a tornado or a hurricane. I know the beginning felt like that for many, many of us, and some of us are starting to feel some spiritual encouragement. We're opening up to, yeah, it still is pretty daunting what we're seeing out there with the fires everywhere and, the political energy out there and all of it. There's a lot of divide with different things, and yet if we're doing our practice and we're, going into our introspection about what am I bringing to this world? What am I bringing to my personal life? We can find a way to find peace in the midst of it. It's like sitting in the eye of the storm and trusting that there's a greater power, there's a greater love that is transforming a whole lot of things that needed to be transformed, and they all had to get uprooted, and the rug had to be pulled to the side, and we're seeing it all being exposed at this time. I saw this wonderful saying. A friend of mine sent me an article written by Kahn, and I'm going to have a few of his quotes from it. But it says, "As awakening blossoms, what may have felt like a threat to your reality or some sort of hostile takeover is seen as a cosmic rescue mission for the innocence hiding within you." As awakening blossoms, what may have felt like a threat to your reality, I know we all felt that so much, or some sort of hostile takeover is seen as a cosmic rescue mission for the innocence hiding within you. And I like that innocence hiding within us, because I think, when we are in a state of fight or flight, we're trying to protect ourselves. We're trying to build barriers, us against this unknown thing and trying to separate ourselves from it to keep ourselves safe. It's this tide of something's moving us in a direction that we're not ready. We weren't prepared. We didn't know this was coming. And all of a sudden, we were just being rushed in the tidal wave. And it's, how can we get shelter? How can we shelter ourselves? How can we hide from this thing that is occurring, and we're all collectively doing it? And what we're watching happen is massive division in people. We didn't shelter with one another because we had this whole, pandemic where we were isolated from others. We were put away from one another, and that was especially hard for people that didn't have significant others and children or family members in the same town. The majority of the counseling that I'm doing are for the people that don't have anyone, that have been isolated in this and are in the age group that are more vulnerable at this time. So what do they lean into to find the power, to feel the love of God as we navigate as powerful children of God and not fragmented versions of ourselves like we were in the beginning of this process? On Thursday, I have a women's group. Second and fourth Thursday of the month is the Zoom one. And the topic was, kind of about overcoming the things we're seeing in the world that are discouraging us and making us feel a little bit hopeless. Like, how could all of this discord transform into love and light? It's so much. If you try to take it all on, you can feel a sense of overwhelm. But the question for the group that night was, what can God do through us? What can God do through me to bring greater peace, greater joy, greater inspiration, greater focus, greater intuition, greater connection to the collective healthy whole? The collective healed whole that want to be part of being the visionaries to bring on the change, to be the missioners of this change. And I was really hopeful for this night with the Zoom women. And right before I went into that meeting, I was talking to a healer person that I'm friends with, and she let me know that she was dealing with a migraine. And the second she said migraine, I had a migraine. And then I had to head into the Zoom meeting. We have to be very careful about how open we are to suggestions in this world. And I've always known that about myself. I took into the picture of her having a migraine and worried about her because I know the busyness she has, and I brought it on myself. I started in my group and I let them know I'm a little bit under the weather, so I just want to let you know that, heading into this, I'm just feel a little bit out of it. Well, we were supposed to look at the things of the world and then discuss how God through us is going to transform all of it. We never got to the God transforming all of it. It was just a wild loss of female energy talking about politics. It got so ugly, it got so heightened, and I'm sitting there watching this screen, and all I want to do is turn it off, which would turn everybody off. I had nothing. I completely lost control of this group. I've never felt so out of control in my life. I just didn't know what to do. I tried to keep bringing it back to what the topic was, but it just got stuck in politics. Boy, is there a wave and an energy happening right now. People want to express their frustrations and their upset and what they need and all of that around this topic. And then one of the women shared that that day, Mars went into retrograde in Pisces, which Pisces is a fiery it has a conflicting energy to it. And boy, did I see that in demonstration that night. And that nothing will be produced from looking outside and having conflict, that there is nothing that will be healed during this retrograde, which is going to be going on for another month. I mean, you can take this or leave it. It's, it's astrology, or it's just it's interesting stuff. I always find it interesting. But it's actually a call to look at the fiery energy of the world, which fiery is very consistent with what we're seeing, and out-picturing a fiery to push us to go inward to our introspection. That if we take this month right now and stay within and connect with this greater power, this greater love, we're actually vibrating an energy that is actually creating an effect that is going to lower this fiery energy. But as we share with others our fears, what if this happens in November? The sense that people are different than us, so we don't like them anymore because they believe something different than me. What happened with us understanding that we are all one, regardless of the political party, or if people wear masks or they don't wear masks, or what are all the things that are dividing right now? We are all one. We are all in this together. People want to speculate that there's someone up there, the man that's dividing all of us, which, how would we know? But if we sign up to divide all of us, it doesn't matter because we will be separated. And united, we are strong. And united, we overcome. And united, we have family, regardless if we have children or spouses. United, we remember that we are all powerful, beautiful children of God. We are the awakening blossoms that for a while there felt a threat, a hostile takeover. But if you've been taking this as an opportunity to grow your beingness, to live in the presence, quit speculating what's going to be down this road, but start to be the energy that you want to see in this world. So many people are doing that. You're collectively moving with those people, right? So we ask questions like, what kind of world are we creating? What are we creating right now when you see what's happening in the world right now? But the most important question is, what kind of world am I creating? Look back through your week and the phone calls that you had, the conversations you had with your children or your spouse. Were they empowering? Were they language? Was it a language that comes from what God can do through me or us as a collective? Or was it disempowering and adding to the lower nature that's so much easier to sit in? The default can go to lower nature all the time because That's the bad habit aspects of the human condition. The reason why we meditate, why we go into nature to watch the peace and the harmony between all creatures, the smells of the trees, that sense of connection, that we're not just visitors here. We are part of all of this. Every single person, every single thing, every little step that you don't touch a bug, all of the things of consciousness as they radiate from the core of the greatness that you are. Wouldn't you think that all this turmoil would be calling this kind of awareness? The presence is all we have. What am I bringing to this presence? Am I adding to the polarization and discord of this world? Or am I adding to the deep, unconditional love for self and others? Those are powerful questions to ask ourselves. So, I love watching outdoorsy shows, shows on Earth and the planet and certain species and things of this nature. And I watched a really special movie yesterday that touched my heart, opened my heart. For 2 hours, I couldn't call anybody to tell them to watch the movie because of the tears that flowed from my soul. And the title of it is My Octopus Teacher. It's on Netflix. I highly recommend. You need to have a box of Kleenex if you're like me, where you just so love this planet, so love its creatures, and recognize how we are the protector of this beautiful planet and what these animals are here to teach us. But I love survivalist shows where people live without anything in the middle of the Arctic, survivalists, where they overcome even weather, and as human beings can show that strength of being, that we don't need all of the things of the world, and to overcome just the basic necessities of being able to make a fire out of nothing, living without the warmest clothes on the planet, to be building a structure and be living in the middle of the Arctic, for the fact that if you win out of 10 people, you'll win $500,000 for being the best survivalist. This is a show called Alone. Amazing show. Oh, it's on the History Channel, and I highly recommend it. Also, you can also get it on Netflix as well. But as it gets later on, you get months in where these people are 100% alone. They have to kill all of their food. They are in the freezing cold of the Arctic. They've had to build their structures, they have to keep the fires going, and they have to survive this thing. And it is to watch somebody that's filming themselves. They have no camera crew on them, so they're filming themselves going through this experience. And the harrowing experiences these people have with bears and animals and trying to keep their food that they've so eagerly shot before the winter came, and now they have to keep it from all the animals that want to steal it. I mean, it is really amazing that everybody does survive the show. I mean, honestly, I would have been toast 2 weeks into this thing. You watch the resilience, and I mean, they are professional outdoorsmen. Every one of these people, their careers are teaching people how to survive. But the second to the last person who was eliminated, so this person is just about to win, but they don't know that because people are getting helicoptered out. They have a phone, so when it gets to the point where they tap out because they've hurt themselves or they're in danger or they have no more food or whatever, they call and a helicopter comes and gets them. This particular guy is so close, and you can see them teetering between these two people, how close. They're both within 24 hours of getting out of there. It's so miserable. It's so bad at this point. And the second to the last that ends up tapping out, unfortunately, in the middle of the night had a fire inside of his wood structure with walls of snow around it, and it caught fire. And you watch all of his physical belongings that he's created to survive out there burn. And you watch the hysteria of this person, not to mention it's only midnight, and helicopters can't come in there till 9 the next morning. He has to survive without fire and everything, which he could have died. And when they come and pick him up, he's so grateful for this experience. He's looking at the cameras. He is filthy. He is thin. He is all these things. But the gratitude for his experience, and these are the words that he said before they took him out in the helicopter. Going into this, I very much wanted to have a very serious experience of engagement. Whatever it is that you are doing, if it makes you present and gives you something to care about, then that's what's important. Happiness is not circumstantial. It's your attitude. And you get to decide the only currency we have is gratitude. And if you don't have any gratitude in your life, then I don't know how you will get it, because this moment is as good as it gets. That's chills, right? And he's been like in the worst conditions. I mean, this is like your worst nightmare, how he's been living. But he's been living fully engaged. And when we're living fully engaged, we are looking through childlike eyes. We're looking for the newness in the things that have become redundant and something we've done all the time. When we are fully engaged, we find that there's more to be unearthed in every aspect of life. Nature shows us that all the time. I can walk the same river that I do in Lyons every day or run it with my dog, but every day it's new animals. It's a new experience. It's just magic. And it's different flowers and it's different plants. And now we can feel this impending fall coming and you see it all changing. And now there's leaves that are padding that beautiful walkway for us to run on. And Gilly can run and it lifts up behind him. And everything is magic. Because this moment is all we have. But we're all speculating what is to come. And that is a human nature of survival, to predict so that we can protect. Predict the hell that's going to happen down here so we can protect our feelings, our shelter, our life, all of these type of things. But what if this is a chance that collectively we aren't predicting? We're putting our feet underneath our hearts and what we feel is right. But we're staying in peace. And we're staying in neutral. And we're looking through a beginner's mind at life. What can we create in this moment? Not what we used to create and what has been created. This is the dawning of a new earth. We don't know how to dawn it. But when we can look through a new lens at things that we've looked at a million times, that's when our consciousness grows. That's when intuition comes in. That's when your dreams start to be insightful and tell you where to be, what to say, how to handle whatever it is that's being called. In Nia, the dance that we hold here is my beloved baby that I take most of the classes here. The idea they always start with is come in here with your beginner's mind. And dance from the body you have today. Don't try to dance from your body when you were 20 years old. And don't try to make your body be the body that you were at 20 years old. Meet your body today. Move with your beginner's mind that you discover your body today. And make the best body that today brings. Accepting what you are. You'll never get the 20-year-old body back, but you can have a damn strong 40-year-old body, right? It's this idea of trying to be something from the past. We cannot bring the past to this present because the dawning of a new earth calls for us to let go of the past and discover within all this turmoil how we find rooted peace. And in turn, radiate rooted peace into the consciousness of all people, all life, Mother Earth, for the consciousness of what's the greatest good for all of us, collectively, because we are one. I don't have a clock down there, so I can't keep track of myself here.
Okay, it's 20 minutes too.
Oh, it is? Okay. So Mike and I have a funny thing. My dad's going to love this. When we're, sometimes there's that feeling when we get out of bed that the gun goes off and we just start running. That's the feeling. Like, Tyler has school now at 7:20. Our internet's terrible out where we live, so we have to come rushing to the church to get him on his online schooling. So that makes our whole day like 2 hours sooner than it used to be. And it's just like our quality of life. My mornings are my running and my everything. So we're taking 2 different cars and making lunches, and it's a lot. And yet, I wouldn't have it any other way, obviously. I freaking love my kids, and I love being a mom, And this is just part of what this phase brings as well. There's all sorts of currents of things that aren't the way they used to be. But you know what? I get to be with my kids a lot more. And that's really, really wonderful. But Mike and I will talk about my father on our trip in Ireland. And we have this picture, which is basically to remind us that we need to slow down, that it's time to slow down. So I have this father that eats very little. Both my parents are like very East Indian in the way they eat only what the body nurtures. It's very, very focused. It's part of their meditation. There's very this. But when he gets his breakfast, Jack Groverland, he is methodical about the process. It's like he gets his little jams and he gets his little butter with his one little teeny tiny piece of bread, and he savors every single bite of that toast. There's this sense of peace of just watching him eat that food that's like, I can't relate with that. I haven't eaten a piece of toast like that in my life. I've been a mom out the freaking gate, and I can't relate. And I look forward to the day that I sit with that piece of toast and that jam, and I just get the exact right amount of butter, just the right amount of jam. And Mike and I have had the biggest laughs about this because every day, the one thing you do is get a free breakfast with your bed and breakfast thing when you go to Ireland. He savored his little free meal too, And I always think of that. It's like that's a vision that comes to me. It's like, what are you in such a hurry to do, Syntysche? What is the big hurry? Because my mom's kind of the opposite. She was always, it's an emergency. Everything was speedy. She always had 10 times more energy than anybody, and it was always just trying to keep up with her. Being the little ducks behind her, you couldn't keep track of her. She was off to one thing, off thing. If you didn't keep track of her, she may lose you in the store. She'd always make it clear, I'm lead duck. I'm not looking at you, you guys. You just keep up with me. That was kind of like, we were like the ducks running behind to keep track of this crazy mind. So to see him in this pleasure of this little tiny piece of toast, what is something we can slow down and enjoy? Like that piece of toast. It doesn't take much to fine-tune our energy where we can find a lot of things to be grateful for. It's like this wonderful man says, all you have is gratitude, and all you have is this moment. So I wanted to move on from there, and I wanted to talk about something very special. I'm going to have to move up a lot of slides because I kind of went off on a little bit. Let's see all these pages I didn't get to. Okay. So today is a very special day. I had an incredible experience about 3 years ago when I was on a trip with Shad and Erna at Unity Village. No, we weren't in Unity. We were actually in Texas at a Unity Ministers Conference. And I was with them. We were staying together, eating all the meals together. It was just me. Mike wasn't there that particular time. And he was in his church in Las Vegas, and we were at a turning point here at Unity of Boulder, and we were really needing to get this place to like the 21st century as far as computers and live stream and PowerPoint and all these lighting systems and all these beautiful things that I knew we needed, and I knew I couldn't lead us to do that. That was out of my wheelhouse, and it was out of Shad's wheelhouse. And there were some policies and things we needed to put in place that I knew I wasn't capable of doing. And so at our music program, my mom was ready to kind of move back, and it was time to bring somebody else forward. And I was walking to my hotel room, and I got to the door, and Shad and Erna were inside, and I got this feeling like a lightning bolt. It's time to invite Shad home. That we needed his help. And I called my parents after that, and I said, I think it's time to invite Shad to come home and help us. And Aaron is going to come and help us. And Shad and Erna answered the call, and they came. And then they were here for 2.5 years, and I wanted to show this picture of us at Unity Village. This is us, last summer. The four of us were at a conference, and we've had so much fun doing this together. But the power in it for me was that they answered the call too, that I felt the call, my parents felt the call, and then they came and they showed up. And in Ecclesiastes 3, it says, to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. And there's nothing like being called to have your younger brother and his wife come and share this journey with my mom and dad and Mike and I. It's been mostly a love-in. It's had its moments. You know, there's a lot of cooks in this kitchen. But what a growth and what a growing opportunity for all of us to become even better communicators, to be more in love with each other than ever, and to feel that sense of family in ministry, right? So I wanted to give my gratitude to Shad and Erna, who answered the call, and that they brought this technology, the live stream, the Zoom, the lighting, the PowerPoints, the projection systems, stimulating talks and powerful leadership. Erna brought her musical talent, lifting everyone's hearts each week with her powerful music choices, her collaboration with our talented band, and put on some amazing seasonal productions. But to everything there is a season. And they came and they did what we needed them to do with an open heart and an open mind, and amazing. And now Unity is going into a whole new aspect of unfoldment, and it's extremely exciting. But Shad's going to come out and share with you what he's about to do in his life.
Just a moment, though. I got to say something. I got to say something about the toast.
The toast.
All right. I ate all those toasts. You know, maybe I ate it slow. But I had those fabulous Irish breakfasts with everything on the plate and stuff like that. And yes, maybe I relished it, okay? But I don't eat itty-bitty pieces of toast
It's not,
to live.
yeah.
Okay? I have to give you that, you know. And as far as you're concerned, you know, I also appreciate you coming here and adding your spirit, your expertise, Erna, her spirit, her expertise. And now everybody's thinking, jeepers, they're leaving. They're leaving. And we're not, but he's going to tell you why they're leaving.
Yeah, okay. So a few months ago, the executive director position for Unity Worldwide Ministries was coming available. And that's the top position, which I'll explain more in a little bit. And people various people throughout the movement contacted me and said, Shad, are you going to apply for that position? And I said, why would I apply for that position? And they said, we think you should. And so I had enough people say that to me that I went back to Erina and I said, people are asking if I'm going to apply for this position. Why would I apply for this position? And she sort of started laughing and said, why wouldn't you apply for this position? Is there anyone on this planet that is a better fit for that position other than you? You've been born and raised in this movement. You've worked at the corporate level. You've done all this stuff. And she was sort of going through my resume and all the teams I've served on and everything I've done. I said, well, I guess, yeah, maybe I'm qualified for that. So it seemed like a really long shot, and I had no intention of leaving here. I was in here for the long haul and everything else, so I went in and put in my resume and I applied for that. And it was a grueling process of interviews. I had 4 different interviews over the last 2 months with various teams of ministers and lay leaders throughout the movement, and then interviews with the staff at the home office, and then interviews with the board itself. And this past Friday, I got offered the position, and I accepted it. So it's funny, when I got to Unity of Boulder, I was only a few months in, and someone on the board of directors actually recommended me to join the Unity. I mean, you might remember joining the board at the Worldwide Ministries level. And I applied and I got into the board, and when I came back to tell Syntysche and Jack I was now a board member, Syntysche said, you're going to be running this movement someday. So it's all her fault, really,
Yep.
when it comes back to it.
Right?
It's amazing what you put out there, what you will create, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But
and we're more than happy. I mean,
Yeah,
he
so
really
they were-
is, like, the unity movement is so important to us, and it has been struggling. And to have Shad in this situation and that role, he is going to literally transform the future of unity as a movement. So it's very exciting. I mean, it's extremely exciting.
right.
Yes, I plan to try to do that. It's kind of funny because when I was offered the full-time, or actually a position at Unity of Las Vegas to become a minister there, it was right before my birthday. And I came out and my talk the next Sunday, and I said, well, for my birthday, I got a church, and everyone applauded. Well, this time, for my birthday, I got 500 churches. So my birthday was yesterday, for those of you that may not have known. So I wanted to just clarify a few things. The reason I wanted to do this was because when I was working my way up the ranks at the MGM Grand Hotel and in the corporate office, I would hear my parents describing to people what I did, and they'd say, he basically runs the entire MGM corporation. And that wasn't actually accurate. So I wanted to make sure now when they describe what I do, it's actually accurate. So if you go back to the slide that you had up there. Yes. So Unity actually has 2 organizations, parent organizations. I will be the head of one of those organizations, which is Unity Worldwide Ministries. My partner on the other side will be, and he's the head of Unity World Headquarters, is Jim Blake, who's a friend of mine. So we will both be running the 2 organizations. If we go to the next slide, just to sort of break down how they differentiate. Unity Worldwide Ministries serves the Unity leaders and the ministries itself directly. So we do the credentialing for all the youth leaders, for the ministers, the teachers, licensed Unity teachers. We employment support, so we'll help ministers get placed. If a church is looking for a minister, we'll help them find a minister. The creation of new ministries, so we're planting new ministries is something I want to bring back to the movement we haven't done in decades. It was actually planting new ministries in different demographics and online. And we create curriculum and all sorts of resources that the people are using downstairs to teach our youth and that we use on Sunday. And we also host the People's Convention, and I'll also be over the school, so the ordination process, the school that we have that actually ordinates ministers and licensing teachers. Jim is actually over the publishing side and more the physical side of Unity, so he's over Silent Unity, so when you call in for prayer support, that's what he's over. He publishes the Daily Word, Unity Magazine, Unity Books, Unity Blessing booklets, like the stuff you'll see out in front here that has a Unity message, that's from Unity World Headquarters. He's over Unity Online Radio, the library and archives. They do retreats at Unity Village. And Unity World Headquarters actually owns Unity Village, so that is their property. They have the real estate holdings there. And they give us the space to actually operate our offices on that property. So I will be actually moving to, starting this Thursday, out to Unity Village to live.
Okay.
So,
All right.
if you come there for a retreat or anything, let me know. I'll be right there and we can say hi.
Right.
Yeah.
What an amazing thing.
Let's see if I missed any talking points here. I made some
Right.
notes here. Yeah. Well, I did it. Actually, the podcast I do with my friend Melissa, we talked about this at length. So if you want to hear more details about it and what's going on with that, we did about an hour-long podcast on that, talking about that. So that'll probably go up tomorrow if you're interested in hearing more about that. And
Okay.
Erina,
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
she gets to decide whatever she wants to do next.
Right.
Without restriction.
Really? She's like going behind you. Okay, we're going to Missouri now. God
Sky's
bless
the
it.
limit.
She looks happier than ever, though, so I think she's good with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is
That'd
it.
be a beautiful thing. Well, it's amazing how life goes.
As my brother said when I called and talked to him, he said, in moments in your life like this, you get to stand and look back and go, oh, that's why all of that happened. And it really is true to look at, why was I working in the corporate world in Las Vegas and having staff underneath me and all this process? It just didn't seem like me. And then I realized I was being trained for this process. And
Right.
everything feels right.
Because you put yourself to the task of taking your own awareness to task, and you were involved, and that's what happened. You know, when Helen Schuckman, who actually channeled A Course in Miracles for 7 years, at one point she asked the source, why her? And all the source said was, because you would do it. And you would do this work. And you're right for this work. But all I can say is now, and I'm speaking on behalf of Norma as well, we've been so blessed for so long over the years, and to have our 3 children so involved in expressing the beauty of life the way they do, and being so instrumental in what is really good and true and right about life. You couldn't be more rewarded than we are.
Well, if you have questions, I'll be on the patio for fellowship. And a lot of people have been asking us throughout our entire time here, when do they get to see our tiny home? And we never actually made an opportunity for that. So now that we have to move it, we are actually going to park it in the parking lot for one day and invite you to come see it. We have to figure out exactly when that day is going to be, but that'll be sort of a way you can come by, say hello, see the tiny home, send us off, and there'll be an email that'll go out about that so you know when that's happening, and it'll be on Facebook.
Right.
But
We have to take an offering, don't we?
Yeah, so now we'll take
Yeah.
we'll blubber through the offering.
I'll lead that. Sure,
Yeah, you
why
do
not?
that. You got it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, as always, I like to remind us that we're not just here to support an organization or a movement or staff. We're here to invest in the kind of world we want to see. And if we're not exactly pleased with the kind of world we're seeing, then we should be investing in the proper directions to make the world change. So Unity of Boulder and the Unity Movement is a part of that process of getting the message out there. And one of the things I've heard over and over again throughout my life in Unity is that we are the best kept secret. People say Unity is the best kept secret. And when they say that, I get sick to my stomach. That's ridiculous. So one of the things I'm really going to work hard on is getting everyone to know what Unity is and to hear our message everywhere around the world. Because we absolutely have the message that this world needs. It has to get out there. So we take our offerings into our hands, whether they're physical or they're digital or they're spiritual in nature. I just want to see that we are investing in the type of world we want to see, a spiritually enlightened world. And so we have these many ways to give that were on the screen. But I invite you to bless it with this offering statement, if you'll say it with me. Divine love through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And let me say thank you to all of you. It's been an incredible experience here. I've loved getting to know every one of you, and at the different times I've been with you at all the different events and the cleanups and the meditations and the sing-alongs and the fellowship hall and the youth department, all that. I'm so grateful, and one of the things I really came to realize over the last few months was that Syntysche's got this. She's got this. And I recognized that the universe was saying, you're ready to go for something else. I had no idea what it was, but the voice is very clear. Your sister's got this, and she's running with this. And it's going to be amazing. So hold on. Good things are coming at Unity of Boulder, and stay engaged. All right. I believe we have another song. Here she comes. That's not the song, though. Here she comes.
You never change. You are the God you say you are. When I'm afraid, you calm and still my beating heart. You stay the same. When hope is just a distant thought, you take my pain. And you lead me to my heart. What love is this that you gave your grace to me and made a way for me to know you? And I confess you're always enough for me. You're all I need. I look to you. I see the life within your eyes and hold the truth that when I can't, you always can. Standing there beneath the shadow of the night, I'm not alone, and I keep finding open arms. What love is this that you gave your grace to me and made a way for me to know you? Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Gorgeous singing, April. All right, so we're going to have fellowship out on the patio outside, and it's not too hot out there, so we should be able to really enjoy that. And we're going to all rise, and we're going to close with I Release. I release
And I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for
God. It's so precious. It's available to you. They're wearing the white sashes. If you would like to pray with somebody, just stay seated and they'll come and find you and take you to go pray. Wonderful to have you all here.
I forgot to mention